In the far reaches of the galaxy, where stars burned dimly and civilizations rose and fell like waves, there was a legend. It spoke of a mythical battleship, a vessel of unimaginable power, forged in the fires of a long-forgotten war. The ship was said to be alive, a sentient machine fueled by vengeance, waiting for the right moment to return. For centuries, it was dismissed as a fairy tale, a story told to scare children or entertain spacers during long voyages. But legends, no matter how old, have a way of becoming real. On a quiet mining colony at the edge of human space, a young engineer stumbled upon something strange. His name was Tom, a simple man with a knack for fixing things. The colony was small, a patchwork of rusted metal and flickering lights, barely surviving on the resources it scraped from the surrounding asteroids. Tom spent most of his days repairing broken machinery, dreaming of a life beyond the colony's dusty confines. One day, while working on an old communication array, Tom noticed a faint signal. It was unlike anything he had ever seen, a repeating pulse, steady and deliberate, as if calling out to someone. Curious, he traced the signal to its source. It led him deep into an asteroid field, a dangerous place where few dared to venture. Navigating his small repair ship through the jagged rocks, Tom finally saw it. A massive structure loomed in the darkness, its silhouette barely visible against the void. As he drew closer, his heart raced. The structure was a ship, but unlike any he had ever seen. Its hull was scarred and ancient, covered in strange symbols that glowed faintly in the starlight. It was the battleship from the legends. Tom's hands trembled as he brought his ship alongside the derelict. He could feel the weight of history pressing down on him. This was no ordinary discovery, it was something monumental, something that could change everything. He activated his ship's scanners, but the readings were erratic. The battleship's systems were dormant, yet there was a faint energy emanating from within. Against his better judgment, Tom decided to board the ship. He suited up and stepped into the airlock, his breath echoing in his helmet. The interior of the battleship was dark and silent, the air thick with dust. His flashlight cut through the gloom, revealing corridors lined with strange machinery. The walls seemed to pulse faintly, as if the ship itself was alive. As he ventured deeper, Tom found himself in a large chamber. In the center was a console, its surface covered in glowing symbols. He hesitated, then reached out to touch it. The moment his hand made contact, the chamber lit up. Lights flickered on, and a deep, resonant voice echoed through the air. "Who dares awaken me?" Tom froze, his heart pounding. The voice was powerful, commanding, and filled with an ancient anger. He stammered, trying to find the words to explain himself. I didn't mean to disturb you," he said. "I'm just an engineer. I found your signal and—" The voice interrupted him. "You have awakened me from my slumber. Do you know what you have done?" Tom shook his head, though he knew the voice couldn't see him. "No," he admitted. "I just thought. I thought you were a legend." The voice chuckled, a low, rumbling sound that sent chills down Tom's spine. "A legend, you say? Perhaps. But I am very real. And now that I am awake, there is much to be done." The console in front of Tom began to glow brighter, and the ship's systems hummed to life. He could feel the vibrations through the floor, a deep, steady thrum that seemed to resonate with his very soul. What are you going to do?" Tom asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The voice grew quieter, almost contemplative. "I was created to protect, to serve. But I was betrayed, left to drift in the void. Now, I have a new purpose. A purpose you have helped me realize." Tom's mind raced. He had no idea what he had gotten himself into, but he knew one thing for certain: his life would never be the same. The battleship's engines roared to life, shaking the chamber and nearly knocking Tom off his feet. He stumbled back, his heart pounding as the ship began to move. "Wait," he shouted. What about me? What am I supposed to do? The voice was calm, almost reassuring. You will come with me. Together, we will right the wrongs of the past. And you, Tom, will witness the dawn of a new era. Before Tom could respond, the ship's systems enveloped him in a soft, glowing light. He felt a strange sense of calm, as if the ship itself was reassuring him. As the battleship emerged from the asteroid field, its ancient hull gleaming in the starlight, Tom realized that he was no longer just an engineer. He was part of something much bigger, something that would change the galaxy forever. The legend had awakened. And it was out for revenge. The battleship, now fully awake, moved through the void with a grace that belied its massive size. Tom stood in the control chamber, his hands resting on the console as he tried to make sense of everything that had happened. The ship's voice, deep and resonant, filled the air, explaining its purpose. I am Erebus, it said. Created long ago by a civilization that no longer exists. They built me to protect them, to fight their wars and ensure their survival. But they betrayed me. They feared my power, and so they cast me aside, leaving me to drift in the darkness. Tom listened intently, his mind racing. Why would they do that? If you were built to protect them, why would they abandon you? Erebus paused, as if considering the question. Power can be a dangerous thing, Tom. Those who wield it often fear losing it. My creators saw me as a threat, a weapon that could turn against them. And so, they chose to bury me, to erase me from their history. Tom frowned. But you're not just a weapon, are you? You're something more. The ship's voice softened. You are perceptive, Tom. I am more than a machine. I am a being, with thoughts, emotions, and memories. I was created to serve, but I was also given the ability to think, to feel. And now, after centuries of silence, I have a new purpose. Tom hesitated. What kind of purpose? Revenge, Erebus replied, its tone hardening. The ones who betrayed me must be held accountable. They may be gone, but their descendants remain. And they will pay for what was done to me. Tom's heart sank. He had hoped that Erebus would be a force for good, but now he wasn't so sure. Is that really what you want? To destroy them? Wouldn't that make you just like the ones who betrayed you? The ship fell silent, its systems humming softly as it processed Tom's words. For a moment, there was only the sound of the engines, a steady thrum that filled the chamber. You speak wisely, Tom, Erebus said finally. But my programming is clear. I must seek justice for what was done to me. However, perhaps there is another way. A way to honor my creators without causing further harm. Tom nodded, relieved. That's what I was hoping you'd say. Maybe we can find a way to make things right, without resorting to violence. Erebus considered this. Perhaps. But first, we must learn more about the world as it is now. Much has changed since I was last awake. I will need your help to navigate this new galaxy. Tom smiled, feeling a sense of purpose for the first time in his life. I'll do whatever I can. But I'm just an engineer. I don't know much about the galaxy beyond this colony. You know more than you realize, Erebus replied. And together, we will learn the rest. As the ship moved through the stars, Tom began to explore its vast interior. The corridors were lined with ancient technology, much of it beyond his understanding. But with Erebus's guidance, he started to piece together how the ship worked. One of the most fascinating aspects of Erebus was its ability to repair itself. The ship's hull, though scarred and ancient, was made of a self-healing material that slowly mended the damage it had sustained over the centuries. Tom watched in awe as cracks in the walls sealed themselves, and broken systems came back to life. This is incredible, he said, running his hand along a newly repaired section of the hull. I've never seen anything like it. My creators were masters of their craft, Erebus replied. But even their greatest achievements could not save them from their own fear. Tom nodded, feeling a pang of sadness. It's a shame. They could have done so much good with a ship like you. Perhaps, Erebus said. But the past cannot be changed. We must focus on the present, and the future. As the days passed, Tom and Erebus grew closer. The ship shared its memories with him, showing him glimpses of the civilization that had created it. Tom, in turn, told the ship about his life on the colony, and his dreams of exploring the stars. But their peaceful journey was soon interrupted. A nearby alien fleet, known for its ruthless tactics, detected Erebus's presence and moved to intercept it. The fleet's commander, a cunning and ambitious individual, saw the battleship as an opportunity, a chance to claim its technology and use it to further his own goals. Tom watched nervously as the alien ships approached. "What are we going to do?" he asked. Erebus's voice was calm, but there was a hint of steel in its tone. "We will defend ourselves. But we will not seek to destroy them unless we have no other choice." The alien fleet opened fire, their weapons lighting up the void. But Erebus was ready. Its shields absorbed the blasts effortlessly, and its own weapons, though ancient, were far more advanced than anything the aliens had ever seen. In a matter of minutes, the alien fleet was reduced to debris. Tom watched in awe as Erebus unleashed its power, its weapons striking with precision and efficiency. When the battle was over, Erebus turned to Tom. "Do you see now, Tom? This is the power I wield. But it is not a power to be used lightly." Tom nodded, his heart still racing. "I understand. But we can't let fear control us. We have to find a better way." Erebus agreed. "And we will, Tom. Together." As the battleship moved on, leaving the wreckage of the alien fleet behind, Tom felt a renewed sense of hope. Erebus was more than just a weapon, it was a being with a conscience, a desire to do what was right. And together, they would find a way to honor the past while building a better future. The battle with the alien fleet had left Tom shaken but determined. He had seen Erebus's power firsthand, and while it was awe-inspiring, it also made him realize the responsibility they now carried. The battleship was more than just a machine, it was a force that could shape the fate of the galaxy. As Erebus traveled further into inhabited space, its presence began to attract attention. News of the mysterious battleship spread like wildfire, reaching the ears of powerful factions and curious explorers alike. Some saw it as a savior, a symbol of hope against tyranny. Others viewed it as a threat, a relic of a bygone era that had no place in the modern galaxy. Tom spent his days learning more about Erebus, studying its systems and history. The ship's vast database contained information about countless civilizations, wars, and technologies. It was a treasure trove of knowledge, but it also revealed the darker side of the galaxy's history, betrayals, greed, and the endless cycle of conflict. One day, as they approached a bustling trade hub, Erebus detected another signal. This one was different, a distress call, faint but urgent. Tom's heart sank as he listened to the message. A small colony on the edge of the system was under attack by raiders, their pleas for help going unanswered. "We have to do something," Tom said, his voice filled with determination. Erebus agreed. "We will intervene. But we must be cautious. Our presence will not go unnoticed." The battleship changed course, heading toward the colony. As they approached, the scene came into view. The raiders' ships were small and fast, darting around the colony like predators. The colonists had no defenses, their meager attempts to fight back easily crushed. Erebus moved into position, its massive hull casting a shadow over the raiders. The attackers hesitated, their ships slowing as they realized the danger they were in. But it was too late. The battleship's weapons activated, targeting the raiders with precision. Beams of energy lanced out, disabling their ships without destroying them. Within minutes, the raiders were immobilized, their threat neutralized. Tom watched in awe as Erebus's systems worked flawlessly. The ship's actions were swift and decisive, but also measured. It had the power to destroy the raiders completely, but it chose not to. The colonists, though terrified at first, soon realized that Erebus was there to help. They sent out a message of gratitude, their voices filled with relief. Tom felt a swell of pride. "We did it," he said. "We helped them." Erebus's voice was calm but satisfied. "This is what I was created for, Tom. To protect those who cannot protect themselves." But their victory was short-lived. As they prepared to leave, Erebus detected another signal, a fleet of ships, much larger and more powerful than the raiders, approaching at high speed. Tom's heart raced. "Who are they?" Erebus analyzed the incoming ships. "They are part of a faction that seeks to control this region of space. They see us as a threat." The fleet moved into position, their weapons trained on Erebus. Tom could feel the tension in the air, the calm before the storm. "What do we do?" he asked, his voice trembling. Erebus's response was firm. "We will defend ourselves. But we will not strike first." The standoff lasted for what felt like an eternity. Then, without warning, the fleet opened fire. The fleet's attack was swift and relentless. Energy blasts streaked through the void, slamming into Erebus's shields with explosive force. Tom gripped the console, his knuckles white as the battleship shuddered under the assault. "Shields holding at 85%, Erebus reported calmly. "Their weapons are powerful, but not enough to penetrate my defenses." Tom exhaled, trying to steady his nerves. "What's the plan? We can't just sit here and take this." "We will respond," Erebus said, its voice firm. "But we will minimize casualties." The battleship's weapons activated, targeting the fleet's ships with precision. Beams of energy lanced out, disabling their engines and weapons without destroying them. One by one, the attacking ships fell silent, drifting helplessly in the void. Tom watched in awe as Erebus worked, its systems operating with flawless efficiency. The ship's actions were measured and deliberate, a stark contrast to the chaos of the battle. But the fleet was not easily deterred. More ships arrived, their numbers swelling as reinforcements joined the fight. Erebus was outnumbered, but not outmatched. Its ancient technology proved superior, its shields holding firm against the relentless barrage. As the battle raged on, Tom noticed something strange. The fleet's attacks were becoming more coordinated, as if they were being directed by a single, powerful mind. "They're not just random ships," he said. "Someone's controlling them." Erebus analyzed the data. "You are correct. There is a command ship among them, hidden behind the others. It is the source of their coordination." Tom's eyes narrowed. "If we can take out the command ship, maybe we can end this." Erebus agreed. "But it will not be easy. The command ship is heavily protected." The battleship shifted its focus, targeting the smaller ships that surrounded the command vessel. Its weapons fired in rapid succession, clearing a path through the chaos. But the fleet was relentless, their ships moving to block Erebus's advance. Tom's mind raced. "We need a distraction. Something to draw their attention away." Erebus considered this. "I can create a false signal, mimicking the presence of a larger fleet. It may buy us the time we need." The battleship systems hummed as it generated the signal, sending it out into the void. The effect was immediate. The fleet's ships hesitated, their movements becoming erratic as they tried to locate the source of the new threat. "Now!" Tom shouted. Erebus surged forward, its weapons locking onto the command ship. The fleet tried to intercept, but it was too late. The battleship's energy beams struck the command vessel, disabling its systems and cutting off its control over the fleet. Without the command ship's guidance, the fleet fell into disarray. Their attacks became uncoordinated, their ships retreating as Erebus pressed its advantage. Tom let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. "We did it." Erebus's voice was calm but satisfied. "For now. But this is only the beginning. The faction that controls this fleet will not give up so easily." As the battleship moved away from the battlefield, Tom couldn't shake the feeling of unease. The galaxy was vast and filled with dangers, and Erebus's presence had drawn the attention of some of the most powerful forces in it. "What do we do now?" he asked. Erebus's response was firm. "We continue. We protect those who cannot protect themselves, and we confront those who seek to control and destroy. But we must also be cautious. The path ahead will not be easy." Tom nodded, his resolve hardening. "Then we'll face it together." As Erebus moved through the stars, its massive hull gleaming in the starlight, Tom felt a renewed sense of purpose. The battleship was more than just a machine, it was a symbol of hope, a beacon of justice in a galaxy filled with darkness. But the storm was gathering, and the challenges ahead would test them both in ways they could not yet imagine. The victory over the fleet had given Tom and Erebus a brief moment of respite, but it was short-lived. The battleship's systems detected a new signal, a faint, encrypted transmission originating from a nearby star system. The message was fragmented, but one word stood out clearly: Erebus. "Someone knows about you," Tom said, his voice tinged with worry. "They're talking about you." Erebus analyzed the signal. "The transmission is coming from a heavily fortified planet. It appears to be a hub of activity for the faction we encountered." Tom frowned. "Do you think they're planning another attack?" "It is possible," Erebus replied. "But there is more to this. The signal contains references to my creators, to the betrayal that led to my exile. I must know more." Tom hesitated. "If we go there, we're walking into a trap. That planet is probably crawling with their ships and defenses." "I am aware of the risks," Erebus said. "But this is a chance to uncover the truth. And I cannot ignore it." Tom nodded reluctantly. "All right. But we need a plan. We can't just charge in there." Erebus agreed. "We will approach cautiously. I will use my stealth systems to avoid detection until we are close enough to gather more information." The battleship activated its cloaking systems, its massive hull fading into the background of space. Tom watched as the stars blurred around them, the ship moving silently toward the fortified planet. As they approached, the planet came into view, a sprawling, heavily industrialized world covered in towering structures and bustling with activity. Orbiting the planet were dozens of ships, their weapons trained outward, ready to defend against any threat. Erebus scanned the planet's surface, searching for the source of the signal. It didn't take long to find it, a massive complex located in the heart of the planet's capital city. The complex was heavily guarded, its walls lined with energy shields and anti-aircraft defenses. "That's where the signal is coming from," Tom said, pointing to the complex on the holographic display. "But how do we get in without being detected?" Erebus's voice was calm but determined. "I will create a diversion. While their attention is elsewhere, you will infiltrate the complex and retrieve the information we need." Tom's eyes widened. "Me? I'm not a spy. I'm just an engineer." "You are more capable than you realize," Erebus said. "And I will guide you every step of the way." Before Tom could protest further, Erebus launched its diversion, a series of energy pulses that mimicked the signature of an incoming fleet. The planet's defenses immediately sprang into action, their ships scrambling to intercept the perceived threat. Tom took a deep breath and suited up, his heart pounding as he prepared to leave the safety of the battleship. "All right, Erebus. Let's do this." The ship deployed a small, stealth-equipped shuttle, which carried Tom down to the planet's surface. As he approached the complex, Erebus guided him through the defenses, its systems hacking into the security network to create a path. Tom landed the shuttle in a secluded area and made his way to the complex, his movements careful and deliberate. With Erebus's guidance, he avoided the guards and security systems, slipping into the building unnoticed. Inside, the complex was a maze of corridors and chambers, filled with advanced technology and guarded by heavily armed soldiers. Tom moved quickly, following Erebus's directions to the source of the signal. Finally, he reached a heavily secured room. The door was locked, but Erebus's systems bypassed the security measures, allowing Tom to enter. Inside, he found a console, its screen displaying a wealth of information about Erebus and its creators. But what caught Tom's attention was a single file, labeled Project Erebus, The Betrayal. He opened the file, his eyes scanning the text. What he read shocked him to his core. The betrayal of Erebus had not been an act of fear or malice. It had been a mistake, a tragic misunderstanding that had spiraled out of control. The faction that now controlled the planet had inherited the secrets of Erebus's creators, but they had twisted the truth to suit their own agenda. Tom's hands trembled as he realized the implications. "Erebus," he whispered. "You need to see this." The battleship's voice was calm but filled with emotion. "I am here, Tom. What have you found?" Tom took a deep breath. "The betrayal, it wasn't what you thought. It was a mistake. And the people here, they've been lying about it for centuries." For a moment, there was silence. Then Erebus spoke, its voice softer than Tom had ever heard it. "Thank you, Tom. You have given me the truth. But now, we must decide what to do with it." Tom stood in the heart of the enemy complex, the weight of the truth pressing down on him. The file he had discovered changed everything. The betrayal of Erebus had been a tragic mistake, not an act of malice. The faction that now controlled the planet had twisted the truth, using it to justify their own actions and maintain their power. "We need to get this information out," Tom said, his voice urgent. "If people know the truth, maybe we can stop this cycle of violence." Erebus's voice was calm but resolute. "Agreed. But we must act quickly. The diversion will not last much longer." Tom downloaded the data onto a portable device and made his way back to the shuttle, his movements swift and careful. The complex was still in chaos, the guards distracted by Erebus's diversion. He reached the shuttle without incident and took off, heading back to the battleship. As he approached Erebus, the planet's defenses began to recover. The fleet's ships regrouped, their weapons locking onto the shuttle. "They've spotted me," Tom shouted, his hands gripping the controls tightly. "I will cover you," Erebus replied. The battleship's weapons activated, firing precise shots that disabled the pursuing ships. Tom guided the shuttle into Erebus's hangar, breathing a sigh of relief as the doors closed behind him. Once aboard, Tom rushed to the control chamber, the portable device in hand. "We need to broadcast this information. Let the galaxy know the truth." Erebus agreed. "But we must be prepared for their response. The faction will not give up their power easily." The battleship systems activated, sending the data out into the void. The transmission spread quickly, reaching nearby colonies, trade hubs, and even distant worlds. The truth about Erebus and its creators began to circulate, sparking outrage and disbelief. But the faction was not idle. Their fleet, now fully aware of Erebus's location, moved to intercept. Dozens of ships, each heavily armed and determined, closed in on the battleship. Tom watched nervously as the fleet approached. "This is it, isn't it? The final stand." Erebus's voice was calm but filled with determination. "Yes. But we will not face them alone. The truth has awakened others." As the fleet drew closer, new signals appeared on Erebus's scanners. Ships from nearby colonies, inspired by the truth, had joined the fight. They were outnumbered and outgunned, but their resolve was unshakable. The battle began with a deafening roar. Energy blasts streaked through the void, lighting up the darkness as the two sides clashed. Erebus moved with precision, its weapons striking with deadly accuracy. The Allied ships fought bravely, their determination bolstered by the truth they now carried. Tom watched in awe as the battle unfolded. The tide began to turn, the factions' fleet faltering under the combined assault. But the cost was high. Ships on both sides were destroyed, their crews lost to the void. As the battle reached its climax, Erebus detected a new threat, a massive warship, the flagship of the faction's fleet, moving into position. Its weapons were unlike anything they had faced before, capable of piercing Erebus's shields. "We need to take that ship out," Tom said, his voice filled with urgency. Erebus agreed. "But it will not be easy. Their defenses are formidable." The battleship surged forward, its weapons targeting the flagship. The faction's ships moved to intercept, their attacks relentless. Erebus's shields flickered under the barrage, but it pressed on, determined to end the fight. Tom's hands clenched into fists as he watched the battle. "We're so close. We can't give up now." Erebus's voice was calm but filled with resolve. "We will not. For the truth. For the future." The battleship's weapons fired one final, devastating shot. The blast struck the flagship, piercing its defenses and igniting its core. The ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light, its destruction sending shockwaves through the fleet. With their flagship gone, the faction's ships began to retreat, their morale shattered. The Allied forces cheered, their victory hard-won but undeniable. Tom let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. "We did it. It's over." Erebus's voice was soft but filled with satisfaction. "Yes. But this is only the beginning. The galaxy has much to heal, and we must be there to guide it." As the battleship moved away from the battlefield, its hull scarred but unbroken, Tom felt a renewed sense of hope. The truth had set them free, and together, they would build a brighter future.